Hello everyone, it's Brock from Brock and Sindri here, back again for another Fable Thursday. We're going to make this a thing between us and you guys. It's going to happen. Now, last Thursday we talked about Lucien Fairfax and his life and the lore behind him, and that included a little bit about the Tattered Spire, which is what we're going to talk about this week. The Tattered Spire was a massive tower created near the end of the Old Kingdom in Albion. The main purpose was to channel all of the will energy in the world to grant the master of the tower one single but limitless wish. When the tower was first activated by the last Archon of the Old Kingdom, which is not to be confused with the first Archon, William Black, there was a bright flurry of light, followed by a large explosion that utterly destroyed the Old Kingdom. And it began a dark age in Albion's history. Some people believe that this was the first wish, end to a corrupt kingdom, destroying it so that a new, more pure kingdom could one day take its place. It is in fact revealed in Fable the Journey that this is actually not the whole story. Teresa told Gabriel that the spire opened a fissure between Albion and the Void where the corruption lives, and on that day it tried to enter Albion. 3 powerful heroes joined forces, using their will to stop it, causing a great explosion. This destroyed the Old Kingdom, while the heroes turned into rocks and were scattered throughout Albion along with their powers. The explosion also destroyed the majority of the spire, rendering it unusable. The only surviving portions were underwater, concealed from sight, which is why it could not be seen from the mainland in Fable or Fable the Lost Chapters. By the events of Fable 2, the spire had been forgotten about by the people of Albion, with just only a few history books mentioning it. Lucien Fairfax himself had been consumed with grief and insanity over the loss of his wife and his daughter, and when he was in his youth, as we discussed last week, his sister, and he begins research on the Old Kingdom in order to resurrect his family, transcend death, and create a new world free of chaos. During this research, he collaborated with the hero of Will, Garth, to reconstruct the spire. A warship then finds the tattered remains of the spire underneath the surface of the ocean, and forced labor is used to reconstruct it with a strange black material. To maintain order amongst the slaves, brutal thugs who defeat the Crucible were then recruited as spire guards, and in order to maintain obedience among the spire guards, spire collars were fitted to their necks, with which the guards were shocked into compliance. The player, however, loses almost all the experience that he or she had when a collar was activated. Lucien, however, creates human-like species to control the order of obedience in the spire. He does this for the fact that he discovers that he cannot operate the spire without 3 specific heroes: the hero of strength, the hero of will, and the hero of skill. This species he created is known as the spire's commandant, who uses the spire collars to enforce his every command. This advantage expedites Lucien's work, and the spire quickly comes to maximum power. At the same time, Lucien then makes similar creations of the commandant into experimental soldiers by inserting small shards of the spire into their bodies. These soldiers are powerful and ruthless, with strong will abilities, and they serve as commanders for his army. These experiments disgusted Garth, and he returns to Brightwood Tower before Lucien can imprison him. Lucien commands his soldiers to scour the land for his 3 heroes, and it takes the next 20 years for Lucien to capture the 3 needed heroes, but finally he manages it when they are meeting on top of Hero Hill. By this time, the spire is complete. They are brought to the spire and placed in the central chamber. Immediately before Lucien can make his wish, the hero of Bowerstone arrives at the spire and uses a magic music box from the Old Kingdom to strip Lucien of his new powers. The box strips him of each individual's power with blue, red, and yellow light streams. As soon as the hero finishes stripping him of his first 3 powers, Lucien begs for his life. When all his powers are stripped from him, the hero has the choice to kill him or keep listening to his ramblings. If you choose to shoot him, he will fall down the chasm of the spire. If you listen to his ramblings, Reaver will shoot him instead and say, "Oh, I thought he'd never shut up." Note, if you listen to him or kill him, you get neither good nor bad points. This is strictly a personal choice. Once the final deed has been done, Teresa, who has instructed the heroes from the beginning, appears in the center of the spire where Lucien was just standing. she now is doing her final instruction of authorizing the main hero to take the Spire's full power as a gift before Teresa takes her own. The Spire's energy is used for the hero's wish, whether it be sacrifice, love, or wealth. Now, if you chose to bring your family back, Garth will commend you. Sacrifice, and Hammer commends it. And for wealth, Reaver is the obvious choice that commends you. After the choice has been made, each of the heroes will choose where they wish to be teleported. Hammer chooses the north to be with the warrior monks there, Garth goes back to his homeland of Samarkand, and Reaver goes with him for the uninhibited people. Reaver also states he will return to the Shadow Court in Oakvale to finish his business with them. Teresa ejects everyone from the Spire and then takes the Spire to now be under her control and sends you away. If you chose sacrifice, the people will love you and admire you. If you chose love, you'll get a letter from your sister and your dog, plus your family or families, if you had any, from when Lucien killed each of these. The people will not love you any more than they had previously. If you chose wealth, you will receive 1 million gold, and the people will hate you. The Spire makes a return appearance at the end of the See the Future DLC. After purchasing the Spire model from Murgo, the hero of Bowerstone may return to the Spire and stand before Teresa. With the completed Spire at her command, Teresa can now look into all possible futures. When the hero arrives, Teresa can be seen reviewing one of many magical threads that holds visions of the future. After greeting the hero, Teresa will offer them a glimpse of their future. The vision shows the hero as a monarch of Albion, but they will have many loyal soldiers and citizens. Vision ends with Teresa standing by a baby carriage with the hero's unborn child lying inside. Teresa states the child is destined for greatness, and the fate of Albion and Aurora will depend on them one day. She says her final goodbye and sends the hero back to the mainland. The Spire is unreachable in Fable 3, but it does actually make an appearance again. It is visible off in the distance when at Driftwood, from the path to Bowerstone Old Quarter in Bowerstone Market, and Millfields near the road to Bowerstone Market. It's lost much of its former height since the defeat of Lucien, rendering it incomplete once more, but most of the structure still remains. It seems that Teresa made the Spire her permanent home, as she introduced herself as Teresa, Seer of the Spire. Now, the Spire is actually the destination of the titular journey made by Teresa and Gabriel in Fable the Journey. Teresa had learnt that while she wanted to rebuild the Spire in order to put an end to all the evil in the world, its construction actually reopened the rift to the void, allowing corruption to seep out. This emerging corruption was first noticed when the Crawler, imprisoned by the three ancient heroes when the Spire was initially destroyed, managed to break out of its imprisonment in Shadelight and started bringing darkness to Aurora. Throughout the century following the reconstruction of the Spire, it did act as a focal point for the emerging corruption. This continued until the power had grown so great that Teresa was forced out. She was later wounded by the Devourer, another agent of corruption, which nullified most of her powers of foresight. Without Teresa to keep it in check, corruption emerging from the Spire increased, altering the very air around it. A storm formed around the tower, which fluctuated in intensity and occasionally caused devastation to the coastlines of Albion and the Edgeland. One particularly powerful storm surge destroyed Reaver's Reach, and ultimately set in motion the final chapter in the Spire's history. Diverted by the collapse of Reaver's Reach, the Dweller Gabriel comes across Teresa fleeing from the Devourer. Over the course of a few days, Teresa manages to enact a plan that she had put together that was designed to halt the continued emergence of the corruption. During this time, the creatures of Albion start to become corrupted and begin to converge on the Spire. Teresa and Gabriel eventually reach the Spire, where Gabriel channels the light through Teresa so she can make a final wish. It is not clear what the wish is, but Teresa passes on the heart of the Spire to Gabriel before she vanishes. Gabriel then jumps into the heart of the Spire itself, all the while being taunted by the Corruptor. On reaching the heart, Gabriel is blinded by the light and the Spire shatters. Following the destruction of the second Spire, only a few shards are left in the Reek Drift west of Albion. Gabriel has taken on the mantle of Seer, and the corruption appears to have once again been banished to the void. Now onto some trivia. During your time in the Spire, it visibly increases in height, and villagers will often gossip about the spire. The spire is not actually the only construction of will in Albion, as other archons ordered other constructions such as the wall that protected the Old Kingdom from evil beings and hostile creatures, and also the Snow Spire of Oracle, a monument designed to record present and past of the Kingdom of Albion. Feel free to check out our video on the Snow Spire Oracle, I will link in the description. In Fable 2, it is implied that shards and great shards are actually will-infused pieces of the spire itself. In Fable 3, if the hero of Brightwall is fully evil and he accesses the demon door in Aurora, once you're near the chest at the end of the path leading to the balcony, in the distance you can see several spires. The Tattered Spire may be based on the Dark Tower from famed fiction writer Stephen King's Dark Tower series. In the 7-book series, the Dark Tower is a towering spire built long ago by sorcerers as a nexus of all universes. However, in the saga, the tower is crumbling almost to the point of collapse. It is up to Roland Deschain, the last remaining of a long line of gunslingers, a noble born cross between storybook knights in shining armor and Wild West era lawmen, to find out what is causing the decay and reverse it before all worlds as we know collapse into eternal nothingness. This theory is also supported by the villager responses like "Well met, Gunslinger" and "It's the last gunslinger" to the character title Gunslinger in-game. While the spire is supposed to have been built and used during the Old Kingdom, it is never mentioned in Fable or Fable the Lost Chapters. In Fable 3, in the Understone DLC, it is revealed that sometime during or after the events of Fable 2, Lucien's reconstruction of the spire prompted wealthy, eccentric inventor Montague Humes to secretly build the town of Understone beneath Bowerstone to protect its occupants from the spire's mysterious power. And that's all we've got on the Tattered Spire for this week, and we really appreciated you guys joining us for this episode of Fable Thursdays with Brock and Sindri. What do you think about the Tattered Spire? Are you fans? Do you like it? Is it a suitably creepy kind of thing for you? It reminds us a little bit of, if you're into anime, guys, there's an anime series called Vivi Fluorite Eyes Song, came out in 2021 last year. It's a sort of sci-fi, cyberpunk, AI type thing, and there's a spire concept throughout the 13 episode series. It's well worth watching. Anyway, with that being said, thanks very much again. Let me know what you think in the comments, and see you next Thursday for Fable Thursdays.